We're running it back here with Niv Mizzet and Learn deck. No adjustments to the previous list. List is below. We got to go second here, but we have a good spread of spells and 2 learn spells, so we can drop the World Tree to sort out late turn fixing. Our opponent goes for the turn 2 Forties. Quite awkward, so they must have top decked it. After some consideration, they take on Niv. We're going to shock in, use cram sessions, grab environmental studies, just keep thinning out the deck and guarantee that we can get up to 6 lands to have perfect fixing here. They drop a Mayhem Devil, revealing that they are on sacrifice. So let's drop a Triome here and use the environmental studies to get another land out of our deck. Office would be pretty good to deploy here, but I'd rather just, while there's not pressure, just drop this in and see what our opponent does. Okay, they drop an Epicure, so we're going to now go to our turn. We'll drop this Clophis, and we'll drop a Triome to guarantee. I'm pretty sure the deck doesn't play main board Invoke Despair, so there's no other BS ways they can make us sack an enchantment, because, you know, black totally needed more removal. They drop a Blood-type Harvester. We'll get rid of the Forties. Drop another land. We're 1 away now. Considering our options here, I go for Cram Sessions. And what we're going to use Cram Sessions for, we're going to grab the Containment Breach, because this deck is built around either the Cat Oven or the Anvil. So 2 targets for the artifact sack. We wait for our opponents. They're going to move to combat, so we'll just use a Tyrant Scorn to take out the Mayhem Devil, just in case there's any shenanigans they might have after combat. Saves us a bit of damage. We're on 18, they drop their second Mayhem Devil. We find a Supreme off the top. We drop our land here. We're going to have to take 1 to sack this. We could use it for mana, but I'd rather just keep the deck thinning out as much as possible. Let's see what we find off the Wandering Mind. Find a Kolaghan's Command, that'll work well. So what we do here now, we wait till combat. They don't use a Blood to sack and kill us with the Mayhem Devil, they just instead swing in, so we will trade, go down to 15. In their end step, we'll kill the Epicure and return the Mizzet Reborn to our hand. We draw a second Reborn. We get rid of that Fatal Push that just looted away. We'll throw out our Niv here and see what we can find. We'll take an Edge since this deck is built around removal and not straight up kill spells. Sorry, not straight up exile spells. Yes, as you see here, they have Go for the Throat. We'll drop the Containment Breach because they haven't deployed any scary artifacts yet. And we have other ways of dealing with it now in our hand. They drop an Omnixilus, which is a big alert for us. So let's Clophis, get rid of the Epicure. We'll play the Edgar here as a Stone Cold blocker. So what we'll do here is we'll pass holding up either Tyrant Scorn or Assassin's Trophy based on what they try to trigger here. So with the Anvil on the stack, let's Assassin's Trophy the Omnixilus so they don't get any draws. They could have if they did sack the Blood, but they chose not to. They drop a Blood-type Harvester, getting another Blood here. Sacrifice, start pinging us down here, 2 damage a turn, gain a life back. They have 1 card left in hand, don't do anything with it. We'll exile the Omnixilus in case they have reanimation effects. We'll Kolaghan's Command, kill the Onical Anvil and the Blood-type Harvester. We can then Tyrant Scorn the Mayhem Devil, and our opponent's seen enough. Right, sideboard time. Scribble Claws could potentially be an include in case they do have the cat and they just didn't draw it. Hangouts Rampage, making a sack deck sack stuff's a bad idea. And we'll take out 1 Kaito because in a pingy deck, Planeswalkers aren't that solid. We have another slowish hand deck here, but it's pretty good because if they have the turn 1 Forties, we still have Cram Sessions, but we keep finding lands so we're okay. Epicure is on the field now. They Deadly Dispute their Blood, get a treasure, play a land. We'll use Cram Sessions again, grab an Environmental Science. We need to get more white mana to trigger off these double Supreme Verdicts. They drop a Mayhem Devil and hit us for 1. We'll shock a land in, we'll Tyrant Scorn, take out the Mayhem Devil here. They drop their second Mayhem Devil and another Blood Type Harvester, pinging us with the damage from that. We shock in here, use Environmental Studies to grab the final planes we need here, and then we'll cram Sessions to go back above 20 here and pick up a Pest Summoning, make it look like we're trying to come out the board to block with them. They play a land here, swing in. After combat, they deploy another Blood Type Harvester and a Fable of the Mirror Breaker. So we've got a gummed up board ripe for a Supreme Verdict. They pass, loot with a Fable. Fort sees us. Take away the Niv Mizzet. Blood Tive away a land. Blood away another land. And then draw a land. We play Clophis. We'll shock in a land first. We'll drop the Pest Summoning, then we'll drop a Clophis. Our opponent draws, they don't find anything, and they concede. Good start to this set. Second match, we've got a Storlex hit here. This set should be called, not especially this match, sorry, this entire recording should be called, yeah, they don't need to ban Fable, because we run into Fable in every matchup here. We'll get rid of the Supreme because it's better late game than early. We draw a Reborn off the top, so we'll shock in, hold up a Growth Spiral. Our opponent plays their second land, drops a Mere Titan, which is weird. So we'll drop in the Swamp here and pass. They mill a Croxer and an Underdog. They literally hit 2 of their reanimation creatures off that. So we will proceed to learn and grive and grab a white here. Opponent swings in for 1. Drops a Fable on the Mirror Breaker. Get used to seeing that because we're going to see it in every set. We'll drop in a Mizzet here. We hit a terrible 10, only finding 2 cards.
Reload.
They loot away 2 more cards here. Going to start getting enough for Croxer soon. Yep, double Bone Crusher Giant. And a go for the throat to kill our Niv Mizzet. Attack in here. Play land. Play the second Fable of the Mirror Breaker. Because, you know, it's totally not a busted card or anything. We find a Clarion, we'll grab that because it can deal with a lot of the things our opponent's playing. We will proceed to grab another land out of the deck here. And we'll just use Clarion now so they just can't make any more mana. The Fables flip here. So now we have to definitely kill the Fables because if not they can do the infinite Fable glitch on the end of a turn and kill us. And they have a Shieldred as well, so we'll stop in our upkeep, Vanishing versus Shieldred so we don't have to deal with that. Then we'll pass the turn, we find another land, play that. We're going to Leyline Binding here, kill the Reflections that's flipped so it's not active. Then we'll pass the turn. Their Saga flips. They start exiling cards from their graveyard and drop a Croxer. We'll go Spiral in response, we just want to see what we find. We'll choose not to play it because we're going to need to drop this Supreme Verdict. Opponent shocks, plays a Blood Type Harvester. We find another land here, so we'll just play it. Use the Supreme Verdict to clear the board. Put Yorion into hand. Which was a mistake because I think they still have enough creatures here to get rid of and use a Croxer. Yep, with the blood token of course. So, yep, no, they find a Robber of the Rich and flip a perfect Leyline Binding off the top of our deck to get rid of our Leyline Binding, which then gives them back their Fable. We only hit a land here, so we'll just flow out a Yorion here. They do not have removal. They get to loot away here to find removal. They find a third Fable or 50 million Fable, whatever it is. And they escape Croxer. Go to combat and attack. Oh no, they pass. We find a Cosmic Rebirth here, so I will Cosmic Rebirth. Grab back the Niv Mizzet, gain a bit of life, drop the Niv Mizzet, find a good spew of cards here. But unfortunately we don't have any mana, so we'll just pass. Fable Sagas start flipping. They start drawing cards. They draw one-shot removal spell. Oh, they get a blood. Yeah. Sorry, yep. So they swing out fully here. We have to discard a land here. And we have to block. No, but they hit our Assassin's Trophy. That was what happened, yeah. That's why I was angry. After the game had given us all our basic lands, so we didn't have a choice. We can block the Croaxa here, go down to 2. Because I'm sure they didn't miracle a 2-mana burn spell after throwing away their... Oh yeah, no, there's their third Bone Crusher Giant. This match had me on tilt here. So we just run it back. We're built to make it against this deck, but it's kind of becoming a point now in the format where if we're not playing Fable, we're playing a suboptimal deck. And it doesn't matter what deck you're playing. If you have red in it, you can be control, mid-range, or aggro. If you're not running Fable, you're making a mistake. Which is why I've kind of started building around different cards, because I do think Fable's eventually going to eat a ban for quote-unquote diversity reasons. We have to mulligan because we got some bad hits here. We'll keep 6 so we can keep a Supreme here. We've got to build up to a Wandering Mind to find something. Opponent goes for immediate Fortsies. Takes away our Supreme. We'll just start dropping lands. They go for a Tenacious Underdog. We will drop the Wandering Mind. Finds us a Leyline Binding. They have the perfect turn free Fable again. So, yep, nothing here. We'll drop a Clophis. Drop a land tapped. Pass the turn. They loot away 2 cards. Draw 2 cards. Play another Fable of the Mirror Breaker. Drop a Shocker Land in. Have another Blood type Harvester. We find a Supreme Verdict, so we'll get rid of one of their land, the Tenacious Underdog here. We do not have the double white here, so we can't do the Supreme Verdict, which is awkward on my part. So we'll just pass. Fable flips. Second Fable loots away 2 more cards. Draws them 2 more cards. They now have the Invoke Despair, so we'll just use a Leyline Binding here to keep Clophis around for a bit. Yep, you know, because this deck needed even more things that could answer every permanent ever, because we got to keep Commander players happy. I consider here what I could do, so I decided to get rid of the land here to go for double red, but then I realized I only have 1 black, so I can't even Angraph here, and we're going to lose now to the Fable flip because I can't deal with it, so we just concede. As you say, most of those matches just come down to did they have Fable on the turn 2. If they get Fable down early game, it's nearly insurmountable unless you have counter spells. Alright, our last match here, we have another red deck, so guess what? We're going to run into Fable. Yeah. That's why a lot of people have been asking in comments why I'm not running Fable in the deck, and it's honestly Fable Burnout. It is optimal to run it, but I like to try and build around something different. Not to be different, but I think that it's going to eat a ban, and I would rather not invest in the paper version of that. So our opponent played the Shark Typhoon, which instantly means to me this is a creativity deck, so we're going to force them to discard, see what they've got. Opponent discards the creativity. So we play the Fable Passage here. Now we can hold up Tyrant Scorn and Assassin's Trophy to respond to whatever they try to do here. Now, provided they just don't big score, make 2 treasures, stack those 2 treasures, we should be able to deal with this. Alright. Keep drawing lands, we're going to shock in, pass here. We're not tapping out for the Supreme here. They use Shokenzan. Drop their land, shocked in. Go for a creativity for 2, so we will here destroy both of these cards. They get another land out of it, but we fizzle their creativity. We're going to drop Niv Mizzet Supreme while we're on here because it should be protected against most of their thing. Unless they also have the second land, the blue sky land, which is one of the rare answers this deck would have. But you know, it's a one of, and I'm sure they don't just have that in their hand. Yeah, they do. I'm just teasing. They're just waiting for us to attack. So with the World Tree here, we could get perfect, but I want to hold up interaction as long as possible. We see what our opponent does. So to prevent them from taking 5, they do have Odawara and bounce our land here. I'm going to play the Fable, and I play the Fable because if they have Make Disappear, I want to be able to pay the 2. Alright, no, nothing happened there, so we'll pass it back. Opponent passes back to us, we top deck another Supreme here. We're going to go in for the attack. We put him down to 9. I play the World Tree to get the lands fixed here. We have 2 spells that we can use now to jumpstart. On our turn, our opponent animates their Mutavault, so they're clearly going for another activation here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to wait till they activate it. And they activate the second one. They go for the creativity on 2 here, so we're going to Colligan's Command, make him discard, kill the Mutavault. We'll jumpstart the Niv Supreme, and our opponent concedes. So we had a good run there. Instantly want to bring in the vetoes, take out the sacks here, take out an Edgar because it's a bit slower. Probably should have left Edgar in perhaps. But ultimately we just want to counter their Transmogrify spells and hope that we can go better in the long game. A tad risky, but we keep it because we have an Assassin's Trophy and we gotta hope our opponent mulligans to Oblivion. They go down to 5, so we should be okay, touch wood. We'll drop our Triumph. Choose to play a tap land here. We want to see what they deploy or try to get down. We top deck a veto here, so now we can hold up veto forever. So this is where I make the big play that cost me the match. I think I'm going to Assassin's Trophy the Hall of the Giants here because that's super smart. So they big score in response. Now just use my hard removal spell. I think I'm super smart now because I can just cram sessions, grab the Containment Breach, and then I can hold up the veto to counter the Indomitable Creativity. But instead, our opponent has the Locust Guard. So I then panic and run out the Niv Mizzet Supreme, but they also just happen to have the Creativity in hand here. They do it for 1, indicating, yeah, this is a Sage of the Fall Locust God deck. So for those of you who haven't seen this combo, Sage has the ability that whenever a creature enters the battlefield, you draw a card and then maybe discard a card. And Locust God has the effect of whenever you draw a card, you create a hasty 1/1 flyer. Now, I let the opponent run this combo full through because I want to see as much of their deck as possible. There's the Fable that we'll inevitably see here. This runs on for a while, so I'm going to end my commentary here. But basically, we look through their deck, they win this match, we go to the next one, and it's just a snowball of Fables that just outvalues us because we didn't have an answer to Fable on turn 3, so we instantly lost the game. Anyway, thank you for watching. As I said, this was a why you should run Fable in these decks, and if you are looking to build a Niv Mizzet deck, you should build it optimally with both the Fable and the Leyline bindings. I'm just experimenting for fun here, but if you look on Goldfish or other sites, you will find the optimal lists. enjoy the rest of this video if you want to check out the rest of their combo.